All right, we have wrapped UFC 268, Usman versus Covington 2 last night at Madison Square Garden. Holy crap, what an event. We'll get into the fights individually. We're gonna lead off with the main card, the main event of the main card, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington.
Yeah.
2 years in the making since the Usman Covington won. Colby's been talking about it pretty much nonstop since then. Usman has fought 3 times since. Colby had fought 1 time since. But they finally made this happen. And the question I had going into this fight to myself was, all right, that first fight was unbelievable. How likely is it that the second one gets even remotely close to it just because it was so good? Not to say it couldn't be good anyway, but just to get to that level.
Yeah.
Through the first 2 rounds, I was looking like, all right, yeah, it's looks like that first one was going to be the better fight. And then Covington just woke up. And then that last 3 rounds was like a sprint for him in a way where I was like, he just like made up ground. For me, in the end, I actually ended up liking the second fight more. And I think it was because the wrestling element was added to it. Whereas it was just straight up rock'em sock'em robots the first time. The second one we saw what the two men are known more for prior, outside of MMA with that wrestling. So I actually liked this fight more because it had that element to it. I'm not sure how you felt, but overall, phenomenal fight. Of course, we'll get into like the whole decision of it as well. But high level, that's kind of how I looked at it. I liked it more than the first just because of that.
I mean, I agreed. It was, for me at least, it was definitely more entertaining than the first, for all the reasons you mentioned. But I'm feeling kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see more wrestling out of Covington, because it looked like he wanted to just trade with Usman at several points, and it looked like, I mean, look, to his credit, he got stuffed on his takedown attempts a lot. And I've always said, when you start getting stuffed, you need to readjust the strategy. You can't keep going. I mean, he went quite a few times after that, 11 attempts. But I think he realized, okay, I'm going to have to trade. There's no other option, really. And so, we saw what the end result was, but I was hoping it would be a little bit not so one-sided, let's say. I definitely feel like Usman had the upper hand throughout most of that, even though Covington was putting up a good fight.
Are you saying on the wrestling side or just overall?
Just overall, but I mean, in regards to the wrestling too, even like the ability to stuff every single one of those takedowns, well, debatably, because there were a couple there that we said maybe should have counted. But yeah, overall, I think Usman just came ready, man. It was, and this goes to show, dude, anybody who's like, oh, ring rust is not saying, I'm going to say it again, dude. It's absolutely real. It's absolutely real. Look at that. It took him 2 rounds to actually kind of sort of grow into his own skin and be able to perform, I think. Colby.
I don't know. For Colby, I don't know if it was ring rust on that. Maybe it was. He's also like, I think he had been asked about ring rust, if not in this iteration of interviews before.
He said it's weak-minded people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think of most fighters, honestly, and I'm glad they say it's not a real thing. I think for some it can be. I didn't really interpret that for Colby being the case. I took it more as obviously Colby talks a bunch of crap to really anyone. It's not just unique to Usman, but he was obviously talking a lot of crap to Usman. I don't respect him, this, that. I think those 2 rounds shown that how much he actually does respect him, because Colby obviously talked about so much, oh man, I'm at this new gym. It's entirely revolving around me. So this was his second fight since he joined that new gym. But he was very, very tentative compared to Colby's standards. I'm comparing it to him, not anyone else. Because Colby, he ended the fight still with 300 total strikes thrown after a pretty passive 2 rounds. Usman had over 300 total strikes thrown. And Colby also was pretty low accuracy in the beginning. I think they were mentioning was at the end of the first or end of the second, he was at like 23% clip or something. He ended at 107 for 281 on significant strikes. That's what is that? That's better than 33%. So I mean, is it like over 50%? No, but he definitely made up ground. There was definitely reminiscent of that first fight. Because in that first fight, you saw Colby. So he almost connected at a 40% clip after starting at 23%. But in the first fight, multiple times Colby tagged, not just tagged, but looked like he kind of rung Usman's bell. You started to see that after the second round in this fight as well. And I was talking to someone at Buffalo Wild Wings that I was watching it, And I was telling this guy, I was like, look, man, like Colby, dislike Colby, and like Usman as much as you want. 14-0 now in the UFC. He's defended the title 5 times. No one has challenged him the way Colby has through these 2 fights. And it's not even close, though. It's not even like that's almost objective. It's not even like a subjective statement. It's not even close. And through the 2 rounds, you look like, all right, Usman really is above and beyond everyone. Because you saw how challenging it was. Since Colby's first fight, no one had challenged him like that again, right? But then now you look like, okay, Usman has really separated himself, and then Colby comes back, and it's like, holy crap, maybe he's going to lose. And I think it's debatable if Usman won, to be honest. I think it sounds like you agreed with the decision, maybe. I think it was more like that 49-46, complete bullshit.
I don't agree with that either.
Bisping also said he had it 4-1. Disagree with him there. I'm not upset that they gave it to Usman, but I think it was super close.
I had it 3-2. Covington taking definitely taking the 5th, and then I kind of like, I want to say he took the 4th, but the 3rd was the one where I was like, I don't know what's going on there. That's where he showed up. So I don't think there should be any question that Usman took rounds 1 and 2. The 3rd is the one that's kind of like, but even then, if we take a look, right? Oh, sorry guys. If we take a look, I mean, he outperformed him, but it's
Blue
very close. Blue is Colby, yeah.
Okay.
So Usman outperformed him, but by not the same margin that he did, for example, in round 2. Look at this. This is a completely different show right here. Here's where Covington starts closing the gap a little bit in round 3, 30 total strikes to 23. And then round 4, he's just going ham. And round 5 was also close. I didn't realize that Colby had thrown less in round 5, actually. I thought he had thrown a lot more than that.
I do think optics-wise, maybe the latter half of that 5th round helped Usman.
Yeah.
We had the scorecards there. If we pull that back up, how did round 5? Round 5, we had one judge score it for Usman. So 2 of them scored it for Usman round 5, and 1 scored it for Colby. The judge on the far right there clearly is out of his mind. I don't think 4-1. No. I think that the first 2 cards are more reasonable. I did think round 3 was Covington. So if any of these 3 cards I think is the most accurate, I think Sal Diamato's is. For sure the first 2 rounds, that's not debatable. Easily those are for Usman. Rounds 3 and 4 I thought was Colby, and then round 5 I thought was pretty close. It wasn't nearly as active from what I'm remembering. Both men were tired at this point.
Yeah, they got exhausted, man.
They for sure could have gone in like a 6th round, for example, but you could clearly tell they're tired at that point. But I do think just the way that latter half was looking optics-wise, again, I think is what separated that round for Usman. But again, I think debatable. Do I think it's a robbery? No, by no means.
No.
Hell of a fight. So I was very happy after that 2nd round. First of all, thank you, Dan Merguiata, for not calling the fight in the 2nd round. Now, if there was like another 30 seconds, he may have, and it may have been warranted, because Colby got rung really good with those 2 shots by Usman. And props to him for like scrambling and trying to grab Usman's legs to try and stall time. Even when he had him wrapped up, right, Colby's head is in between Usman's legs. Usman still hit him like twice.
Oh yeah, dude, those were heavy too, man.
Those were solid hits too. And I don't know if you caught this at the end of that 2nd round. It looked like both men acknowledged Dan Merguiata, like thank you. I saw Usman tap him on the butt, and I think Colby said something too.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was feeling the same. I was like, oh, thank goodness this guy didn't stop it. When I saw Mark Goddard we haven't seen Mark Goddard in a while, it feels like. So when I saw him on this card, I was like, holy crap, there's no way they're going to give him that fight again, are they?
I want to say he was just in Abu Dhabi.
Colby's already going to have the excuse out there.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%, man. That was some really good reffing there. And I want to say most of the card was pretty solid. I mean, usually it's hit and miss, or it's either really bad or really good. But I thought it was solid
in terms
too.
of the refs or the judges.
No, the refs were solid, man. The judging,
the judging, there were scores. We can touch on the judging overall later, but for this fight, I don't think it was terrible. The 49-46 I disagree with the scorecard itself, but I don't think it really changed the outcome. Like saying Usman won, I don't think is overly controversial. So even though he said 49-46, I disagree with the scoring, but I don't necessarily disagree with the outcome.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's very close. Like if someone super pro Colby winning that fight were to be talking with me, I could probably be like, yeah, I see your point. And if someone who's super pro Usman winning, I'd be like, yeah, I can see your point too. That's how close it was for me. But a phenomenal sequel, right? Sometimes the sequels, movies, fights, whatever, not nearly as good. For both of us, this was better. Maybe one day there will be a trilogy. It's definitely not going to be the next fight, nor should it be. And Colby, after the fact, was saying, I think if I beat Jorge Masvidal, that gets me right back to the title. It absolutely does not. It should not. For the same reasons that Colby was saying earlier, like this guy's a journeyman. Everyone's beating him. He's a lightweight. So it's like, why the hell would that warrant you to getting a title fight? And he tried to spin that in the post conference. He was like, if you guys are building him up to be such a big thing, then if I beat him, I should get it. Sometimes Colby gets caught in his own webs.
Yeah, he does, man.
Right? That's what's funny when people get super amped up about him. Like, this guy's a racist. He says some messed up stuff. It's like, dude, he's not even that good at what he's doing. Like that good as in like he sticks to his script, but he also contradicts his script pretty often. He says the same thing every time. When they ask him, what's it like fighting in Madison Square Garden? He mentions the same 3-4 people or bands that were in Madison Square Garden. The biggest one that I always catch him is they talk to him about his previous corner at ATT, and they say, what didn't work for you there? He's like, well, if you look at the last fight, they're giving me crappy advice. They're telling me to breathe. Like, who doesn't know to breathe? And then when they're saying, well, what is it you like about your current corner? It's like, they tell me to breathe and this.
Yeah.
So you can't take him that seriously. And then we put out a short earlier today where both men at the end of the fight, they come together for a second and they exchange words. And I was trying to catch the words live. I couldn't hear it. They shake hands. They do like a brief hug. Dan Murray provides some funny commentary over it. And then they go their separate way. Turns out one of our guys sent us the possible transcript. It sounded like it after was they were pretty much acknowledging, like Colby saying, like, look, man, I don't mean this crap. I'm just trying to sell the fight. Yeah. And it worked. If we take Dana's word for it, he reported 10 million at the gate, and he reported that they crushed the budget on the pay-per-view sales. He said if ESPN wants to release the numbers, then they'll see him like that. He didn't say what the buys were. I would guess it probably cracked 500,000 buys. Mid to high range, 500,000 to 600,000, maybe somewhere between 450,000 to 600,000 is going to be my guess. But it was a great performance, man. Great card overall, but definitely nothing lacking, at least on my end.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% agreed with that, man. I mean, I was put on life support, but
Yeah, I saw it. Actually, the last thing I do want to touch on that you mentioned earlier about the wrestling. Props to Usman, obviously, for stuffing. Again, arguably not all of them. He did get taken down twice. I don't know what the official definition is. What they were saying during the broadcast was he didn't hold him down for long enough. I didn't know there was a duration because he brought him down to his knees, and then Usman got back up almost immediately, and then he brought him back down, and then Usman got up pretty quickly. I don't know what the exact definition is, but the word take down, he took him down, whatever. But regardless, that wouldn't have changed the outcome. But it did also feel like Colby was using those takedown attempts as a way to change pace, not necessarily even thinking, I'm gonna get him down, but he worked him a little bit and he's like, all right, let me try and shoot now. And also just to maybe exhaust some energy from Usman's side, because Usman was super fresh through that first 2 rounds. And then you saw him getting tired, both men getting tired, obviously. Not to the point where it's like, oh man, he's gonna gas out. But still, you saw that the gas tank was getting tested. But that was just the kind of final thing I wanted to point out. Anything else on your end for the main event?
No, I mean, just to your point, if that's what his strategy was, then it actually makes a hell of a lot more sense in my mind now. Because I mean, Usman definitely started being a little bit more cautious. He did start slowing down once Covington started to go for some of those takedowns. So I can see that having been just strategy more than like an actual like I'm going to get you to the ground kind of thing. So yeah, good point, Manuel.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was our main event. A great one, and then yeah, we'll move on to